Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back to another weekly Watches episode. Or what we're trying to do now is the regular Monday slots. Recommencing last week, it was Tuesday, but moving forward, as I said in the last weekly Watches episode, we're now looking to do them every Monday where circumstances allow. So for this week, guys, or for last week, I should say, we had 6 titles watched, 5 of which I've got here on physical media. One of them was recorded off the TV, so I'll mention that one when we get to it, but obviously I can't show you the physical media cover for that particular title. So first one I watched, guys, was from 1938, and it's 96 minutes long, and it's an Alfred Hitchcock movie. Probably one of the earliest Alfred Hitchcock movies that I've watched to date. This one dates back to 1938. And wow, it didn't disappoint. I think this was IMDb rated 7.7. So I'll read you the back of the box. So obviously it goes on about Alfred Hitchcock in general, and then it goes on to say this film stars Margaret Lockwood and Michael Redgrave. Digitally restored version of the film has never looked better. And then basic synopsis of the movie: intrigue and espionage abound when a young woman travelling aboard a transcontinental express train strikes up an acquaintance with a middle-aged English governess who then disappears. Is the young woman hallucinating, or is it something altogether more sinister? So like I say, this one runs 96 minutes. First time watch for me. I absolutely loved it. Like I say, going back to 1938 for a DVD release. I mean, I'm not too sure if they've actually released this one on Blu-ray as yet, but for a DVD release, obviously in black and white, Alfred Hitchcock's film style, it looks absolutely superb. The characters in the movie are absolutely brilliant, and as it says on the description, is the young woman hallucinating, or is it something more sinister? That leaves you guessing throughout the whole movie. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. The individual characters, whether it's the people that could potentially be the bad guys conspiring against the woman, and other people in the movie itself, not one irritating character. I love that about a lot of these Alfred Hitchcock movies. You don't get people that annoy and frustrate the hell out of you. They're all really good characters. Even the ones that are supposed to be a little bit irritating, they're all really good. You don't mind them at all. Whereas, modern horrors and whatever, you get, teenage people in them that irritate the shit out of you, and you can't wait for them to be bumped off by whoever it is in the movie. But yeah, I love this movie. As soon as it's available on Blu-ray, it will be one that I'm upgrading, along with several others that quickly becoming favourite of mine from Alfred Hitchcock. So I think Letterboxd rating, I gave this one a 4 out of 5. So yeah, it was up there as one of my favourite watches of the week. So there we go, guys. That's the first one, The Lady Vanishes, from 1938. Next up, from 1990, this was one evening. Ghost Lou was across, and we were debating. He was on his, I can't remember, GTA or Minecraft it was, and I was an hour in what film to watch. So he said, "I'll tell you what, Dad, I'll grab you a random one off your DVD shelf behind. Give it a watch and see what you think." So he grabbed me this one off the shelf. I moaned a lot about this while I was watching the film. I moaned about it a lot, I think, Ash and Tim in our WhatsApp group, and similar in the Mondo Rock Facebook group. But to be fair, I slept on it overnight, and I upped my rating in the morning from 2 out of 5 to 2.5 out of 5. It's super low budget. The acting is really bad. The film work is shoddy. But it's got a really, thinking about it, like I say, overnight, it's got a really odd charm about it. I've no idea, 9 times out of 10, when I watch, what I consider on a first impression to be a really shit film, very often that opinion doesn't change. But there's trailers on this one for, I think, 3 other films that they've done. Two other films that they've done that are shown on these trailers looked just as bad as this, but for some reason I wanted to get them and watch them. I watched the trailers section afterwards, and I was, for some bizarre reason, I was on eBay looking to get hold of copies of those films, even though, like I say, I pissed and moaned something chronic while I was watching it. I've no idea why it got to me like that. I do not know. Summing up the film, it's kind of a poor man's version, if you like. It's a cross between Texas Chainsaw and Mother's Day. But if you'd given a set of film students, 50 pence and a packet of beef Munster Munch to record it, that is what you get with this film. But for some reason, I'm going to keep it in the collection, and I want to track down other movies by this production company. I must be fucking mad. I've no idea why. But if you have seen it, guys, let me know in the comments. IMDb, I think, got a 3.8 out of 10. That's how bad everybody else thinks this film is. But as you know me, I like a really bad film, and my first impressions, like I say, sleeping on this one overnight, changed the following morning, and it is one for some bizarre reason that I will rewatch later on down the line. So if you have seen it, guys, let me know in the comments. Even though it was a 2.5 out of 5 on my letterbox, worst watch of the week, but like I say, it's got a really odd draw to it that I don't understand. So there we go. That's the best way I can describe it. So that's 1990s Skinned Alive. Believe it or not as well, I completely forgot to mention this. This got a Slasher Classics release. I was saying to Ash and Tim, with Slasher Classics, there's some hits and then there's some absolute duds. And I think a lot of people, if they've seen this on the Slasher Classics, will probably say it's one of the worst films they've watched. But there we go. Like I say, I changed my opinion overnight. So give it a one-time watch, guys. And if you're as mad as I am, then you might actually get something from it. Who knows? So there we go. 1990s Skinned Alive. Next one. In fact, the next one, if I'm doing these in order, is from 2024, and it was a South Park feature-length episode that I recorded off the telly called End of Obesity. So this one ran 50 minutes, gets an IMDb rating of 7.1. I think I rated it, 3.5. I'm not 100%. I think 3.5 out of 5. And basically, it's about weight loss medicine in America. So the description, the synopsis: new weight loss medicine creates a frenzy in South Park. Cartman's denied access, leads the kids to take action. And it's basically, South Park's opinion on weight loss drugs and people's obsession with them and things like that, done in a typical South Park style. So I rated it 3.5 out of 5. I am a big South Park fan. if you know if you know what you're getting with South Park, um, if you enjoy South Park, it won't disappoint. It's well worth a watch, guys. So there we go. That's very briefly, because I've waffled on far too long about Skinned Alive. That's South Park's End of Obesity from 2024. Next one, guys, was another Alfred Hitchcock movie. This one's from 1972. Runs 1 hour 56 minutes, and it is Frenzy. Now, I think, I'm not 100% sure, I'm pretty certain it was Roy over at Blue Roy Movies mentioned this when we've spoken about Hitchcock movies before, saying it's probably one of the most, dark and intense Hitchcock movies that he'd seen. This was a first time watch for me, and I absolutely loved it. Again, another Alfred Hitchcock movie that's right up there as one of his best for me. And again, another one that as soon as I can get it on Blu-ray, I'll upgrade it, and I'm sure it'll look absolutely fantastic. It ran, like I say, 1 hour 56, and the synopsis on the back: in modern day London, so yeah, Alfred Hitchcock returns home on this one, to London. A sex criminal known as the Necktie Murderer has the police on alert, and in typical Hitchcock fashion, the trail is leading to an innocent man who must now elude the law and prove his innocence by finding the real murderer. John Finch, Alec McGowan, and Barry Foster head this British cast in the thriller that alternates suspense scenes with moments of Hitchcock's distinctive black humour. Screenplay by Anthony Schaefer. Like I say, I absolutely love this one. First time watch for me. Straight away rated it a 4 out of 5. I might even amend that to a 4.5 out of 5. For me, possibly my favourite movie watch this week. The camera work, from camera direction, if you like, or whatever, from Hitchcock. The start of the movie, when I think they're going down the river, and you can see Tower Bridge in the distance, the way that's panned along, all done in one shot. The Tower Bridge gates being up at the time, and I think it's a tugboat or something that comes across, all in the same shot. Absolute Hitchcock perfection. There's another scene where I'd say, keeping this spoiler free, but there's another scene where one of the victims is up in her flat, and the killers followed her up there, and once he's in the room, in one single shot, they pan back from the entrance of the flat all the way down 3 flights of stairs, I think it is, and back onto the street. So it's all silence as they're moving back down the stairwells, and then you're suddenly hit with the noise and the hustle and bustle as they've gone back onto the street. That absolute perfection. I haven't seen that in any other movies, and the way Hitchcock comes up with those particular viewpoints and takes on things is second to none. Honestly, he's probably, for me, my favourite director at the moment. So absolutely love his work. As it mentioned at the end of the synopsis, Hitchcock's dark humour. Again, without going into spoilers, there's a particular scene where the serial killer is in the back of a potato truck. He's put one of his victims into a potato sack, and they're travelling along like a motorway or something. His victim, I think, has entered rigor mortis by that point, and he's trying to pack her into this potato sack, and her foot keeps coming out and kicking him in the face, and that I shouldn't have laughed, but that really did have me chuckling away. So it's dark, it's intense, but it's got splashes of humour, and it's just such a fantastic film. I'm so glad it's one that I've now, can add to my list as one that I've watched. And like I say, this is the DVD release. Looked stunning, but as soon as I can upgrade it to Blu-ray, then I will. So yeah, 4.5 out of 5 from Letterboxd for me. Probably right up there with Rear Window as one of my favourite Hitchcock movies. So there we go. That's 1972's Frenzy. Right, 2 to go, guys. This is one that I actually only picked up on Saturday. I had seen it once before, absolutely loved it, and it is a world cinema release. So this is obviously a foreign film with English subtitles. It's called A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, and it is a vampire movie from 2014, but it's all shot in black and white, and it works absolutely superbly. It's not your typical vampire movie. If you think you're gonna see a Lost Boys, or you're gonna see a 30 Days of Night, something like that, no, not at all. This is a very loose vampire movie with like romantic elements. But please, when I say romantic elements, I'm not into romantic films in the slightest. I'm your typical bloke. I like blood and gore and action, all that jazz. But this film, guys, is absolutely amazing. It looks stunning. The girl that plays the vampire, the one that walks alone, home alone, that walks home alone at night. I don't know why I couldn't say Home Alone then without thinking of fucking Macaulay Culkin. She plays an absolutely brilliant part, and as the film develops, she gets loosely romantically involved. It's about her building her relationship up with one particular person, but there's no sexual contact, there's no kissing, but you can tell there's a bond and a relationship of sorts developing between the two people. It's set in a very deprived and derelict town, where there's drug addicts and prostitution going on and things like that. But like I say, it's an absolutely amazing film, one that I don't hear talked about very often, one that for me I'd say is right up there as one of my favourite modern world cinema films. It runs, let's have a look. Did I make a note? I don't think I did. Let me read the back of the box for you. Stranger things are afoot in Bad City. So that's what the nickname is of the place where they live. The Iranian ghost town. So, yeah, like I say, it is a foreign movie. So, Iranian. Home to prostitutes, junkies, pimps, and other sordid souls, is a place that reeks of death and hopelessness. Where a lonely vampire is stalking the town's most unsavoury inhabitants. But when boy meets girl, an unusual love story begins to blossom. This was the second time that I've watched this. So first time in probably 4 or 5 years, I'd have said. I got halfway through this film and thought, this is just as good, as not better than I first remember. 2/3 of the way through the film, I'd ordered the Blu-ray release of this off eBay. So one of those, I absolutely loved it. I'm going to pass this copy over to Ghost Lou, see if I can get him into watching some world cinema now he's into his movies. and I should hopefully be getting the Blu-ray release of this later on in the week. I did as well, straight after this, as I'm starting to do with a lot more movies now, I did watch the extras. So there's a documentary on this particular DVD release with Anna Lily Amirpour, who's the writer and director of the movie. She's been interviewed in the extras by Elijah Wood, and that was a really good segment to watch. I think that was like a 20-minute documentary afterwards. I also watched the Universal trailer for the movie, and it also came with deleted scenes as well, most of which I'm kind of glad they didn't put into the movie because they were all kinds of odd, and for me it would have detracted from this particular from how good this particular movie worked as it was directed. But yeah, absolutely fantastic film. If you can watch world cinema stuff, you don't mind subtitled films, honestly guys, stick this one onto your list. It's not an expensive one to pick up. I think if you can track it down in a local CX, it's about £5 on DVD and £8 on Blu-ray, something like that. So well worth a watch, guys. Definitely for me a bit of a sleeper in the world cinema section of movies. I did also have a look afterwards at what was it, Anna Lily Amirpour's what she'd gone on to writing and producing since. She's also done one a couple of years later called Mona Lisa and the Blood Moon, and again that rates nearly as highly as this one, so that one's now on my radar to give a watch to as well. So there we go, guys. That's my second to last watch of the week, A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. And then the last one, I watched Michael Moore's Bowling for Columbine. So just literally finished this one about an hour ago, been watching it this morning. Typical Michael Moore filmmaker. If you've seen any of his stuff before, I've seen the likes of Fahrenheit 9/11 and Sicko. That's another one that Michael Moore has written and produced. Typical, outspoken American, some people would say conspiracy theorist, but takes a very unique approach to looking at certain situations within America. Like I say, he's done Fahrenheit 9/11, looking at what went on in September 11th and confronting people that have potentially had a lot more involvement than is led to believe. This one deals with Americans with guns. Obviously, Columbine was the school where there was the mass shooting. There was also another incident later on. This was actually filmed in 2002. So I think it was maybe a year before this where there was another shooting in a school in America where a 6-year-old boy had got hold of his uncle's 9mm, I think it was, and gone into school and shot another 6-year-old girl dead. Absolutely crazy. It talks a lot about the politicians, about George Bush, about the gun laws in America. He even deals with the NRA, which is the National Rifle Association in America, that's headed up by Charlton Heston. And bearing in mind, Charlton Heston, like I say, he's the head of the NRA, obviously big movie star over the years, etc. And after this school shooting, this first one in Columbine, where I think there was 12 students killed and multiple students injured, Charlton Heston organised the NRA to have a rally in the particular town where this happened. And again, I think within a day or a week of the 6-year-old girl being shot by a 6-year-old boy, again the NRA with Charlton Heston was in that particular town with a pro rally for the NRA as well. So, you know, if you've seen Michael Moore before, you know he certainly doesn't shy away from confrontation. Very opinionated, doesn't care. You know, he'll quite happily go up to heads of organisations and confront them with his very awkward questions. One point in this documentary took two of the students that were injured in the Columbine school shooting. One of them who's paralysed in a wheelchair, and another lad that can barely stand up, that have both still got bullets in them, and he takes them to Kmart headquarters to confront Kmart, because Kmart sell the bullets and ammunition for the rifles and guns, etc. And they sell those locally in Columbine, and were responsible for providing the ammunition to the two people that were involved with those mass shootings. So that was quite an interesting meeting. I won't spoil what happens during that because there is an outcome to the meeting eventually. So I was quite surprised, let's say. But look, this particular Michael Moore documentary runs 2 hours, I think it is. IMDb wise gets an 8 out of 10. I know I can't, I've said before, rating quarters, but I'd give this a 3.75 out of 5 for my Letterboxd rating. So there we go, guys. That's my last one for this week's weekly watches. Michael Moore's Bowling for Columbine. So there we go, guys. Nearly half an hour of wafflage. I do apologise. I got carried away by talking about Skinned Alive, of all films. So there we go, guys. Let me know in the comments if you have seen any of those before. Be really interested to hear if you got on with them as well as I did. So yeah, as always, please remember to like, comment and subscribe and all that good stuff. And I'll be back later on in the week with another video. Bye for now, guys.